What's up, Venkers?
Hello, Venkas.
How is everybody doing?
How are you doing? Better than Max Verstappen. Because heartbreak strikes again for Formula One's biggest critic.
That's right. You know, is that the worst way to get that close? To be edging and then get kicked in the nuts like that. After edging for 22 hours or however close he got to winning.
Yeah. It's especially brutal in a 24-hour race for like a mechanical failure when when the victory is in your hands. You've been up, you no sleep, all this shit, you sell the place out, you're there, it's just you're going to cruise to a victory and then bam, hit with what ultimately was it? It was a
drive shaft
issue. I mean, I think you feel a little bit better because it wasn't, driver error. You didn't do anything wrong. Neither did your guys. I think, it's like for these other guys he's driving with, like the pressure of not fucking up Max Verstappen's,
yeah.
He sold out the Nurburgring. He sold it out for the first time in the history of the 24 hours of the Nurburgring. And everyone's there to watch Max Verstappen accomplish this feat, accomplish this goal, look death in the face and say, fuck you, I'm winning this race. And he was about to do it. And I think luckily for because who was driving in the car when it ultimately went down? Jenny, who was actually driving at that moment? Juncadella was actually driving at that point. If he had spun out because there was an oil spill and these guys were spinning out. I mean, crazy shit goes down at the Nurburgring. But I think there's a relief that it was, a mechanical failure at least.
Well, not if you're building the car.
That's true.
Not if you're on that side of the team.
That's true.
Not if you're on the not if you're the car builder. But yeah, no, I've looked Max in the eyes before.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Asking him, man on the street questions is hard enough.
Yeah.
If I spun in the 22nd hour of his debut in the 24 hours of the Nurburgring, I think I would is there an exit ramp? Can I just drive away? I would drive out of the ring.
That's right.
Just start a new life somewhere.
That's right.
I would be Matt Ellissoff, and I'd be, Max.
That's right.
Hastings, or
all of a sudden you're wearing the Groucho Marx with the glasses, with the nose and the mustache. I don't know who that is. That's not me. But we got so much to discuss on this episode of the Red Flags, part of the Vox Media empire. We're talking about so much in this episode. Honda's $19 million bailout. Zak Brown trying to stop this Mercedes deal from going down. What's going to happen with Christian Horner and the Gucci Alpine hookup, as well as what's going down in 2027 with regards to these rules. We recorded the chunk of this episode a couple of days ago, but we had to pop on here on this Sunday for the episode that's coming out this morning to talk about what's going on with Max Verstappen. But before we get into that, babies, know what you got to do? You got to buy our book, pre-order Formula 101 for F1 fans who love the drama. The book is coming out so good. It's coming out amazing. We have amazing illustrations. We're putting it in the finishing touches on it right now. And, I'm reading it back and I'm like, this book rocks.
Yeah, and I've never pre-ordered a book in my life, but they've told us it's actually very important to do that. So it was really helpful if you pre-order.
Yes. And we're working on if you pre-order, getting a little something, some illustrations that weren't able to make it into the book. Perhaps maybe a little board game that wasn't able to be in the book, but you'll get. It's an incredible illustration. And yeah, in order to be on a bestseller list, apparently you need to get a bunch of pre-orders because all your pre-orders go into your first week of sales. So if you're thinking about buying this book, do us a favor, pre-order it now. Link is in the description.
Yes.
We would really, really appreciate it. Also, join the Patreon, patreon.com/TRFpod. You can buy our episodes bespoke for $3.33, which is the Max Verstappen special. But you know what, Matt? Let's talk about Max Verstappen because you know what a lot of people are talking about? Ever since this dude went from 33 to just 3, it's been bad luck central.
That's DR.
That's DR.
It's the DR curse.
Right.
Because he didn't have such a good go of it with 3 at the end.
I mean, it's certainly it started out hot, and then Max Verstappen came into the picture, and then it was all downhill from there for Mr. Ricardo. And now Max has taken on that number. Maybe he's gotten some of that, that runoff of that curse because it's been a brutal year for him. I mean, he's doing, his life is charmed, as Günther would say. None of these guys could be that unhappy ever. And it seems like he's taking this whole thing in relative stride. But, for the previous race at the Nurburgring to go, for them to win that race only to be disqualified for using extra tires in the prep for the race to now what's happened in the 24 hours, the real main event, and then everything that's going on in Formula One this year. Who knows where Red Bull really is at in terms of performance? They obviously had, a nice showing in Miami, but who knows what's going on there, on top of the fact that he hates what's going on with the sport, and he's talking about retiring. But, if he's going to retire, he wants to be winning these fucking races and not having a drive shaft issue come in at the fucking, 11th hour, 23rd hour.
Right, and he probably thought, hey, I could go into these other leagues and where I'm 12 feet tall and I can pick up some wins. Because honestly, I don't really know about the level of competition in the GT3s, but this is, I don't know. This speaks obviously to Max's greatness.
Yes.
But does it not speak a little bit to also that this is like a little bit less competitive? Because to me, it kind of speaks like a little bit like Usain Bolt just coming in and running a marathon and winning that. It's like, what is
sure,
because this is a completely different discipline.
Right.
It's a different car. It's 24 hours. I mean, I know Max is in the sim driving everything, but
yeah,
God damn it, he never drove at night before.
Right.
This was his first time driving at night.
Yes.
For like ever.
Right.
And he's gaining, he's putting to, like, he was the one that made the overtakes for the lead. He was the one that built the gap. Like, he's leading the charge. So obviously no one's doubting his greatness, but is it not to be negative, but is this a little bit embarrassing for, like, he shouldn't be able to come
right.
Should he be able to come right in
and beat the shit out of everyone?
Immediately put everyone on notice. I mean, it was, thank God, honestly, thank God, like the few races, like a few months ago or whenever it was, that Lance Stroll wasn't like at the head of the field too.
Yeah.
Because that would have been devastating. Thank God Lance Stroll was horrible.
Right. It's embarrassing for these guys. I feel like, he is the great. I mean, I think, when we had, we chatted with James Hinchcliffe, because there's all this talk about Kyle Larson, right? Kyle Larson's like, and all the American racing aficionados were like, Kyle Larson, really, he does it. Like, he does it all.
Right.
And Hinchcliffe, who knows, that world's, better than us. And, obviously Kyle Larson, huge star in the NASCAR world and has gone on to do stuff, across the board, including IndyCar. But, at the IndyCar level to less success than Max Verstappen, to be able to come in and just be immediately on pace, I think is like the thing that people are floored by Max. And I think that, like, if you gave a lot of these guys like some time, they would be able to be as competitive, strong. I mean, Alex Brundle was, Alex Brundle, friend of the pod, love Alex Brundle, but he finished 12th. He was in the GT3 class too, and his team finished 12th, I think, out of 41. So, like, I think that Lando Norris, Oscar Piastri, George Russell, a lot of these guys could come in and eventually find their way to be strong. But I think the fact that Max can just do it immediately is the real thing that's so impressive, on top of the fact that this track is extremely dangerous. This track is like not for the weak and weary. This track is like, if you fuck up, you're in the wall. I mean, someone died at this track, a couple months ago. Like this, they don't race in Formula One at this track because it was too dangerous. Toto Wolff almost fucking killed himself trying to break the lap record at this track. Like, this is a track that like drives fear into people's hearts. And for Max to like come in and immediately be on the pace and, be sending it, putting his fucking car on the grass.
On the grass, yes.
And in lap 1, almost flew over the fucking hill, which we've seen in the past. There's that iconic, video of that Mercedes just going fucking airborne there. People have cars have gone into the stands at the Nurburgring, flown into the stands, killed spectators. Like, and in lap 1, it's like Max, like, all right, let's get it going, because Max knows one speed, which is fucking send it. He almost the whole weekend was almost, the whole race was almost screwed right there, because he literally went airborne coming over the top of one of these hills.
Yeah, I mean he is something else. We're lucky to be there. If you're a fan, you come all this way to see him. Mm-hmm. You're there 24 hours.
Could
you imagine if he crapped out the first lap?
That would have been brutal. Dude, remember in Mexico a couple years ago when Checo, like, lap 1, just out of the fucking race?
Out.
Dude, Oscar Piastri this year in Australia fucking crashed out before the thing started. But at least you're not there for 24 hours.
Yeah, at least you're not there.
I guess if you go early and he crashes out, you just leave. I think also a lot of people don't stay there for the full 24 hours. People come for the daytime. They'll sleep in their campers, or they'll go home at night. You get your little fix of the Max Verstappen thing.
I want people in the comments that watch this discipline. How are you supposed to consume a 24-hour race?
Right.
Like, how are you actually supposed to? Do people just watch it for 24 hours? Like, that is just beyond crazy to me.
I think you just like kind of have it on in the background. You know what I mean? You just hear, and then if something goes, oh shit, let me tune back in, kind of thing. If you're really kind of like, but no, you can't watch it for 24 hours. Also, like, a lot of times these guys have like 2-minute leads. There's like a few moments of on track action for the people that that matter, and the rest of the time it's strategy plays, it's pit stops, it's who's coming in when.
Right.
But it's a bummer for him, obviously. And I guess before we move on to the other stuff, I'm thinking about, like, if this is the retirement plan, right? If Max is really gonna leave Formula One, and these are the types of things that he wants to do, what would get me really hype is if he was like, all right, I'm leaving Formula One, and these are my bucket list races, and I'm gonna go do this. I want to do Le Mans, and what I really want to see him do, I need to see him do the Indy 500.
Of course. Well, here's the thing: this is the problem that I think he's gonna come up against.
Yeah,
is it almost seems to me like some of these things are gonna be too easy for him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's not even going to have, like, he almost won it in, if not for a mechanical error, if not for a mechanical malfunction, he would have won this. He would have won both those races in his first try.
Right.
He'd never done it before.
Yeah.
He had never driven at night before. Like, so in a little bit, it's like, how rewarding can it be if he never even had to
struggle
for it?
Yeah, that's where
at all. So that's so like whereas at least at Formula One, he was very young when he won it, but like that took him. He came in like 2016. It took him 5 years.
2015. Took him 6 years.
Took him 6 years. It was, relative to this success, very fucking hard.
Yeah.
And that 2021 battle with Lewis was fucking hard.
Yeah.
Right. To 2025. Or no, I mean the other ones were not that hard. I guess 2022, not
22
hard.
and 23 were.
Leclerc, but 2020 with against Lando.
Yeah.
The year before, that wasn't an easy championship. So two of them were not easy. You know, two of them, any other driver would have fucked those up.
Yeah.
Against Lando and Lewis. So I think he's going to maybe run into that. He could just like his skill level to just come in and immediately be on the pace and faster than everyone else have been doing this for years. You know,
and to be put in the best equipment. And it's because he's put in the best equipment because he comes in and because he's there, he sells the place out. So then like he's not going to be struggling for people to want to give him the right materials in order to handle the business. It comes into question if he wants to do basically he won this race this year. I mean, it's kind of good for them that this happened because it puts more emphasis on him doing it next year, and maybe it becomes how many years in a row can he win the fucking Nürburgring 24 hours. But like let's say he wins the Nürburgring 24 hours next year. He wins the Daytona 24 hours. He wins Le Mans first or second try. That's where I think the Indy 500 is a different beast, because I don't think that he could. I don't think he comes into the Indy 500 and he fucking wins it year one. I think that that's its own fucking beast.
Well, we saw Alonso.
Yeah,
I mean he was on McLaren, which has always been a bit of a. Also, the Indy 500 is such a crapshoot.
Yeah,
there's so many things have to go right from a strategy point of view, and from a there's so much chaos. But yeah, I think the Indy 500 is probably, it seems to me like the only thing that would probably take him a while to figure out. Especially because all the cars are spec and it's just such a hard race, and he's going against guys who've been doing it forever.
Yeah.
And he says it's scary and it's intense, and maybe he doesn't like ovals, but like the Nurburgring is like super scary
and so intense. Totally.
So I don't really understand why he would do the Nurburgring 24 hours.
Yeah. Where
people still die there, and he wouldn't do the Indy 500.
Yeah.
Doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, so that's to be my request. If we are to believe that these retirement, rumors are true and that he is leaving Formula One, I want to see like what are the side quests that become the main thing, like what's on the menu, and let's watch him do it. But I need the Indy 500 to be on that menu, and that's what I got to say about that. Any last thoughts on Max before we get into the rest of this episode?
It's almost like it's almost like you create your own player in Madden mode, but it's already 99 everything. Where does he have to? That's the problem here. Right. Where does he have to go? The Indy 500 is the place.
Right. That's it for this. Well, we're going to change outfits, and we'll get into the rest of the episode now. In other news, Honda is getting a $19 million bailout from Formula One for being so bad. Because they are 10% or over 10% off in terms of engine and power unit performance. They are getting a $19 million bailout to the tune of $11 million in straight cost cap adjustments, which basically means more spending power, and another $8 million, which is essentially a loan Honda takes from its own future budget. There was fears that Honda was just going to say, fuck it, I'm out. I'm done with this thing. Good luck with your project. I'm going home. Or like as Haley Welch said, oh, you know what? I'm going to bed. So Aston Martin and Honda are getting bailed out. All of the teams have come together to agree to give them this handout. What are your thoughts on this whole situation?
You got to hand it to Honda. For swallowing their pride on this. I mean, this is I don't know what's more embarrassing, right? You know, what they've been doing the past couple of races, or just getting a it's like, did they have, I'm like kind of thinking, do we have to call it a bailout here? Can't we call it something else? Because we were all alive in 2008. Like when you think bailout, you think of like the most pants shitting, like economy destroying mistake. Like bailout just sounds wrong. Could we have not just called it something else? Extra spending money, which is, by the way, it's their own money.
Yeah.
It's their own money. Like, the branding of this is terrible. Like, the whole point of this is so Honda doesn't get so embarrassed that they leave. So they gave them, here's the thing, they gave them all the advantages so they won't embarrass themselves. And then they branded it in the most embarrassing possible way. So it's like they gave with one hand and then they took with another. So I mean, if I was in charge of comms for this thing, I would be so furious that it's called a bailout. It's like, no, it's not a bailout. A bailout is because people are saying that like Honda's just being given money. It's not being given money. It's being allowed to spend its own money.
Right. Yeah.
And then they're getting extra dyno time. You know, it's it's all very public because, you know, we all grew up, right, taking standardized tests, and they just need a little extra time.
Yeah.
You know, Honda don't read so good. They just need a little extra time.
That's right. I was always so jealous. I was like, just because you guys have been diagnosed with a learning disability doesn't mean that I don't have one, okay? Why do you guys get extra time and I don't?
That's right. That's right. So, yeah, it's because it's crazy. It's crazy because I was learning about this is the balance, right? Is you want Formula One to be, you know, everybody's pushing to their full capacity.
Yeah.
But then if too many people get embarrassed, then they just leave.
Right.
And then you're in a situation where you don't have any. Man, I think that happened in the prototype series, right? Where it was just like one Porsche or whoever just dominates and everybody leaves. And then it's just boring.
Right.
So that's why they have balance of performance in WEC. You need a little bit of, you got to give them something. Otherwise, Honda leaves.
You need a little bit of socialism, a little bit of, you know, equity, a little bit of, let's make sure that everyone can participate and have a good time. You know, and I think also part of why this has all come out and has been so public, you know, because, you know, when you do something nice, you want everyone to know what a nice guy you're being. You know, all the teams are like, listen, we all got together and said we're going to help Honda out, you know, little buddy, little brother here. I think, you know, I think it was necessary. Obviously, what's been happening over there has been a catastrophe, nothing short of it. Unbelievably embarrassing and at times, you know, appearing to be dangerous as well. Being too far off the pace can be a danger to yourself and others. I do wonder, and I can, because we've seen this before, you know, most recently with Braun. Braun, you know, in 2009 kind of came in. They said, listen, we need some help. We need a Mercedes. We need a Mercedes engine. Can you guys, you know, bend the rules to help little old Braun out and get us right? And I guess a part of me in the back of my mind goes, is this a decision that they might regret later if like this extra time and Honda works out their kinks and the Adrian, because we haven't seen the Adrian Newey effect take place at all because the car has been such a mess, both from an engine point of view and a chassis point of view, like the two of them not getting along, the blame game going everywhere. Do you think that this will work? I guess is the question.
Yeah. Do I think it's kind of like at the end of the Napoleonic Wars, the first go around, they just put him on an island. It's like, you didn't kill the guy, just kill him. And then he came back and did the same shit all over again. It's like, you got Adrian Newey on the ropes. Just finish him. Just finish him. Why are you putting him on an island and giving him, all the resources and giving him...
Right.
Do I think it's going to work? I think there is something cursed in that Aston Martin. Just, there's something rotten. When you look at how many team principals have gone through there, I mean, they were better as Racing Point, as Force India. They were, I just think that the culture there is not good. The fact that one of their drivers is the son of the owner doesn't, because here's what's interesting, right?
Yeah.
Usually what happens in these situations is the two drivers fight, they fight each other, and then the team sort of coalesces around one.
Yeah.
And then the worst guy kind of gets left behind, and then he's fired, and then you bring in a new guy. And there's like a competitiveness that kind of drives the team forward. And with Lance Stroll, you don't have that, because even though Aston Martin is kicking the shit, even though Fernando Alonso is kicking the shit out of Lance Stroll, the team can't really coalesce around him, because Lance Stroll needs to be taken seriously for quite obvious reasons. And also, we'll get into Alonso's retirement later. We have no idea how good Alonso is at this point. We just don't know.
Right.
Because Lance Stroll is the benchmark. I mean, I have been, I've come many times by saying, oh, look how good he's doing in that Aston Martin. Look how many seconds he's faster than Lance Stroll. But I know in the back of my head, like, you don't actually know how good that is. Like, if you put somebody else in that, and who the fuck else is going to want to go there at this point? So I don't know. And it's crazy. And what is shocking is that these provisions were made for the quote unquote bailout before the season started, and it was for 4%. Right. They're like, okay, if it's 4, like, this is as bad as it could possibly be. Right?
That's right.
But they were so bad, they were 10% down on horsepower. So they had to fucking go back and change the rules, because they were worse than the worst case scenario.
Right.
Honda just fucking pisses me off, because they were with Red Bull. They got out.
Yep.
And then they were like,
for no apparent reason, they were flying high with Red Bull. It's like you have a stock that's soaring, and then you say, you know what, let's get out while we're on top. And then they get out, the stock starts to dip, and then they go, let's buy back in. And then the stock just continues to plummet. I mean, it's like they, if they had just stayed with Red Bull and been a part of that whole process, we're seeing that Red Bull now at this point, with their own, engineers and their own people, and obviously their relationship with Ford, has started to figure out. And people they probably
took from Honda.
Right. And they've started to figure out, how to make this car competitive. And Honda could have been a part of that. Like if Honda had not jumped ship and then tried to get back on the ship, but instead was like covered with fucking hantavirus. This is like what's happened, over at Honda. And it's crazy. And I think you make a good point about the Lance Stroll Fernando Alonso of it all, is that, like, right now the car's so bad that's the least of their issues, is Lance Stroll. And the dynamics between what the working environment is there with regards to Lance and his father, and where the power ultimately lies, behind the scenes, because the car is such a mess that's not even coming into play. Who's to say that when the car does come online, if it does, then all of a sudden you're still left with that shitty situation?
That was the situation in 23 or 24, where they called it the Green Red Bull.
Yeah, I think it was
when
22.
They were like,
22. When Alonso was getting those podiums.
Alonso was getting on the podium, right?
Yeah.
And then Lance was a fucking liability. Like, that was the worst year of Lance's career. Was when
2023. 2023 he was doing good. He was doing good in 2023.
Because that was the year that was the year he became a fucking liability. Was the year that they were good. So
right.
you need the two drivers to like compare data and push each other forward. And unless you're Red Bull, I guess, then it really doesn't matter.
Right. But at Red Bull, it's different because at Red Bull, you have the best driver is the one who's prioritized.
Right.
Whereas at Aston Martin, the worst driver is the one who's prioritized, or at least there's conflict there because he needs to be at least made to feel like he's prioritized because of the situation over there. So, yeah, this is just chaotic situation. I'm glad that they're doing it because something's got to give. But also, if you're a Cadillac, you're like, hey, like we suck too. Like, where's our like? Sorry, like. We're really bad as well. Can we get a little bit of that? Like, why is it just them? Like, we're stinking it up at the bottom of the grid as well. Where's our handout? Where's our bailout? Can we get a little bit of that?
No, I think, honestly, I approve of this. Do I think it's going to work because the culture is so bad? No, I don't think it's going to work. But we're getting into F1 is taken over by an American company. We saw with the cost cap. Right. Mm-hmm. They're just stealing from America, basically. Right. It's they have the cost cap. So expenses are controlled. So labor is kind of controlled, like how much you pay these fucking people.
Yeah.
And then this stuff is kind of like it started a few years ago with the extra wind tunnel time.
Right.
Now we're doing extra money to develop engines and upgrades.
Yep.
So you're getting that, and now you're getting extra. And Brian, remember I said this?
Yeah.
I said this, or we were saying this a couple of years ago. I said, fuck wind tunnel time. You should be allowed to spend more money if you suck.
Right. Yeah. Yes.
That should be like, that's draft picks, right?
Right.
That is the F1 equivalent to extra draft picks. It's just more money to spend on parts and shit. Because And that's how the NBA and the NFL, that's how you get teams to turn over and stay competitive. But there are some teams that get first picks all the time, and they just, like the Cleveland Browns, like they are always bad. They always get always get top picks, and they just always manage to fuck it up. And I think we might be in a Cleveland Brown situation here.
Yeah, they are in danger of being the Cleveland Browns of the Formula One world. But in theory, if you do this, you start to be able to give teams a chance to actually rise through the ranks. That's how you have in the NBA the Oklahoma City Thunder being the best team in other than the Knicks, obviously, because the Knicks are going to win the championship. But the Oklahoma City Thunder, winning the championship last year. The San Antonio Spurs being great again. Washington Wizards just got the first pick in the draft. They have a bunch of new guys on their team. They might be good in a couple years. But in Formula One, it's just like there's the top 4 teams and everyone else is eating a shit sandwich. And who else, hopefully that can... These are the types of things that you would hope that a league can do to make the product better, to make for there to be variance in the pecking order. But this is just to get them to not be an embarrassment, which is a start. Support for this show comes from Hims. When thinning starts, it's not just your hair that takes a hit, it's your mood and your confidence too. Well, Hims makes it simple to take control of hair regrowth with personalized care that fits your life. So that moment when you catch your reflection, you notice the hair creeping back with Hims, you can actually do something about it. Hims offers convenient access to a range of prescription hair loss treatments with ingredients that work, like chews, oral medications, serums, and sprays. Their doctor-trusted ingredients, like finasteride and minoxidil, can stop further hair loss and regrow hair in as little as 3 to 6 months. You shouldn't have to go out of your way to feel like yourself. Listen, we're getting older. It's part of life, but you can do something about it, and that's why we love our friends over at Hims. And for simple online access to personalized and affordable care for hair loss, ED, weight loss, and more, visit hims.com/redflags. That's hims.com/redflags for your free online visit. hims.com/redflags. Featured products include compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription required. See website for full details, restrictions, and important safety information. Individual results may vary based on studies of topical and oral minoxidil and finasteride. Okay, let's keep it moving. Speaking of the power dynamics on the grid, Zak Brown is once again beating his drum, trying to block Mercedes and Toto Wolff from being able to buy a percentage share in Alpine. He has written a 6-page letter to the FIA, Mohammed bin Salem, demanding action on team alliances, saying it's not a coincidence that he's writing it now, with Mercedes' reported interest in the Alpine as its B team. I mean, the argument there is clear. He's been saying this for a long time about, teams should not have multiple teams. Obviously, Red Bull is the current, organization on the grid that has those two teams. As Gunter pointed out, that was, created during a different time where teams were insolvent, or they were going out of business, and they actually saved the team from going under. So, there is an argument that they should be grandfathered in, but there's also an argument that they shouldn't have that B team at all, and that they should maybe be forced to sell that B team. But the current, issue on the table is obviously that Alpine is looking to sell their 24% ownership that was a part of the finance group that consisted of, the Travis Kelce of the world and all those, in Rob McElhaney and all those celebs. They want to sell that share, and both Christian Horner and Toto Wolff have thrown their hats into the ring. What does this recent chirping from Zak Brown say to you, Matthew?
You know what it says to me? It says to me, come on back, Christian Horner.
That's what Zak Brown's saying.
That's what Zak Brown's saying, because those are the
100%.
two people. Those are the two people that are up for it. He's saying, I'd rather have Christian Horner in there again.
Mm-hmm.
As much as I've tangled with him, that is a better outcome than Toto Wolff. He didn't say that explicitly, but that's implicitly what's going to happen if Mercedes is taken out of the running.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because I think F1 is kind of confronted with sort of two problematic options, right? Because you have Christian with his baggage.
Yeah.
And then you have the Mercedes situation, which is a complete, it's not even a gray area. It's a complete black and white conflict of interest, and it shouldn't happen. And I'm completely at Zak Brown's side. But it's a sticky situation for F1 to be in, given the two main players in this deal. And I'm guessing that Christian's probably gonna, if you have to speculate, I mean, there's just no way they could allow Mercedes to buy. It just especially considering the Americanization of the sport with the cost cap. With all these sort of socialist benefits, with the extra wind tunnel time, extra time on the dyno, the bailout for Honda. These are all sort of things you do in an American franchise model. The other things Americans don't do is they don't let you own two fucking teams. That's just ridiculous. You don't get to, James Dolan can't go and buy the Nets. Right? It's crazy.
Right.
So if they're following the American model, which I think everybody agrees has made, whether you like all the things Liberty has done, from a business perspective, you can't argue that these valuations of these teams has gone up, right?
Yeah.
Easily. Just, we're going to make them profitable. No exorbitant spending. These are going to be profitable organizations. We're going to institute all these things that we're going to make it so, teams can't go on the grid willy-nilly. These are going to become valuable assets. And now look and look at it now. So I don't think it's going to hurt their bottom line.
Well, there is a world. Here's the thing. There is a world, because it's not like the teams get to vote on this. This isn't a Cadillac situation where like all the teams have to come together and say, do we want to let them in? How much do they have to pay? They have to do everything right. This would just be a private sale from one company to another. I think that's where this public-facing kind of, we're putting some type of public or political pressure on the powers that be to not let this go through, to put the pressure on the powers that be at Alpine to not sell it to Mercedes. That's where I think some of this stuff is coming from. So theory, I think that they shouldn't allow it. It's just whether they actually can do anything to not allow it. The other question that I have that this whole thing brings up for me is right now there's this exception that Red Bull can have their second team. And as Gunter said, they saved the team. This was a different time when they bought the team, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. My question would be, should that have an expiration date? And should there be a date in the not so distant, but, distant enough future where Red Bull will be forced to sell V-Carb to a team that's not associated with the parent company?
Yes, I do think they shouldn't have that team forever.
Yeah.
I just don't know. I'm dumb. But if you force someone to sell something, right? If you say you got to sell it, then you're immediately diminishing the price.
Sure.
Because that person
knows that you have to sell it.
You have to sell it, right?
Right.
Because if I own a house and somebody's forcing me to sell the house and I have to sell it by a certain date, all the buyers can just kind of wait.
Sure.
They know I got to go to someone, right? So whereas if I'm not forced to sell the house, I could just not sell the house if I don't like look at all these boomers that are like, my house is worth $2 million and I'm not selling. I will not. Even though I paid 12 nickels for it in 1983, I want $2 million for it.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And they're just not sell. They just refuse to sell.
And then they say, that's what happens when you time the market. Okay, millennials, stop eating your avocado toast. Okay, if you had a brilliant mind like mine, you would have also bought a house in 1985. Okay,
right.
Why don't you be born in a different decade?
Right. So basically, honestly, just switching gears here, they should be forced to sell their houses because the housing market is in the toilet. Well, it's not in the toilet; it's in the stratosphere, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Is to force them to sell is going to do something to their bottom line. So that's not exactly fair either. So I don't know how they could work it out that they could get like a fair market value for their team because the team is very valuable. Obviously, it's like a solid midfield team.
Yeah. I mean, if they get all the teams to agree to it, right? If all the teams, if Zak Brown can get everyone to band together and say that they should sell the team, and then there should maybe be some type of assurance from the powers that be to, if they can go in, they can get someone to fairly evaluate how much is this team worth, what should it sell for. Let's say the price is, $1.5 billion, and they get someone to buy it for $1.2 billion. Then all the teams should band together and say, we'll make up the difference. The FIA, whoever it is, can get together and say, if you're going to do this, we're going to make sure that you get a fair price for it, that you get it right. Like sometimes you can pull those levers and to make sure that this happens, because this is also what Zak is calling for. He says we need to eliminate. Quote, we need to eliminate any further alliances, whether through ownership, strategic partnership, or any other equivalent form of control or influence. And we need to work together quickly to start the process of unwinding those already established. So this is Zak Brown's real beat that he's drumming. He's saying that this needs to stop. This needs to change. Yeah, this is Zak's. This is something that Zak wants to make sure it happens. I mean, I'd be curious to see if the other teams get on board with this. Obviously, Mercedes currently doesn't want to get on board with it. Neither does Red Bull. So he's going to have to get the Williams, the Aston Martins, the Audis, the Cadillacs of the world to get on board with this thing and put some type of pressure, because this is going to be a pretty monumental shift if he is able to get this done.
Yeah, but Toto is like, you like your engines, bitch?
I know, literally.
You like those engines?
I know, he's pissing off. I mean, he's biting the hand that feeds him.
Yeah. What are you doing? If I'm Toto, I'm like, man, I should just. You know what? Why don't you go break yourself off an Audi engine, bitch?
Yeah.
Go break yourself off an Audi fucking power unit, ho. Go be Jenny goes, go take your business to fucking Honda And let's see if your boy Lando is going to be on the podium anytime soon. He could fucking throw him back. I'll throw you back to where I found you in P18, bitch.
Yeah.
It's like Zak Brown's walking tall on a fucking power unit that he did not fucking build, okay? Yeah. In an engine regulation set that is highly dependent on a power unit.
Yeah, the foundations of that, the foundations of the house that he has built are shaky. Because without that power unit, without that engine, that house is that's a sinkhole.
And Christian saw this problem, right? He was like, man, I can't rely on any of these motherfuckers. I need to build, you either need to build your own engine or you need to get it from a provider that's not on the grid.
Yeah.
So, and he did it. And what's interesting is that it doesn't even seem like the engine's the problem right now for them. Ironically, they're overweight. The balance of the car is off. It seems, it's like, it doesn't seem like if you look at like who's getting the bonus sort of.
Oh yeah.
It's not Red Bull. Red Bull, they're like
the bailouts. No, their engine's doing fine. No, it's the rest of it's the balance of their shit. They brought in these new side pods where they basically have found a way of like manipulating the rules where I've watched a whole this is aero shit, but basically their side pod has a dramatic slope so that it's not touching the aerodynamic, it's not touching the air, so they were able to basically like fuck with the bottom of their floor and their side pod to have it not be a smooth surface and to be, I believe, more stable because it's not in, quote, contact with the aerodynamics, which was like teams were kind of asking, should this be illegal? Look, their floor is not in coordinates with the FIA regulations, but they've seemed to have found something, obviously, at the last race in Miami. So maybe they figured out some of their issues, especially also with the weight. But yeah, I mean,
they did some letter of the law bullshit.
They did some letter of the law. I mean, that's what you love about Formula One is they find, they actually technically were allowed to do this. That's what Formula One is all about. Is technically we didn't do anything wrong.
The best example of this for idiots like Brian and myself and maybe some of the listeners is Colin Chapman. He figured out it was better to have two separate chassis and weld them together. He built two chassis and he welded them together and he was like beating the brakes off of everybody. And they go, you can't have two chassis. That's not allowed. And then he pointed to the rules and he goes, well, the word for singular one chassis and multiple chassis is the same word. So it's actually never specified how many chassis you can have in a single car. And they looked at it and they were like, fuck, he's right. Chassis and chassis, plural and singular, are the same thing. So it's like, these are the kind of things. Yeah.
He said, bring it up with Napoleon, bitch. Bring it up with Marie Antoinette. Oh.
Bring it up with the French. That's what you get. You know what? Honestly, that's what you get when you make everything fucking French. Grand Prix, Gourmet. That's what you get. Yeah, it's just great, I'm enough with all the Frenchification of everything.
That's right. Well, in this same vein, we were just talking about Christian Horner. Christian Horner's gardening leave is officially over.
Yes! Yes! Was anyone keeping track of this?
Yeah. No, the only person who was keeping track of this was
Christian
one
fan.
Christian Horner had a fucking calendar with a red X on, May 13th or whatever the fuck it was.
He was just crossing off days.
With a big bullseye on the day where his gardening leave would finally be over. So it does raise the questions as to what will be his next move. Obviously, there's the questions around, will he head to Alpine for the Autro Capital? That's the group that holds the 24% stake in Alpine. Seems like there's a lot of arrows pointing him in that direction, but then there's also some rumors that he might become the CEO of one MotoGP. According to some rumors and some reports, Bernie Ecclestone privately told Horner to look for a role at MotoGP instead of trying to return to F1, and it looks like he's taking that advice seriously. Horner showed up at the MotoGP race in Spain alongside CEO Stefano Domenicali, which set off a wave of speculation. When asked why he was there, he said he was a, quote, guest of Liberty Media and MotoGP, and mentioned that there would be synergies. Obviously, MotoGP is owned by Liberty Media. He's reportedly not interested in buying a team. He's looking much for a much broader role at the top of the sport. What do you think? Is Christian Horner going to be Christian Horner? Is Christian Horner going to be Gunther Steiner's boss?
Nobody's. We're going. Gunther fucking works for us. Okay,
that's right. That's right.
He's we're his boss. Christian. Christian. I don't see why you'd want to be CEO of a league. That just seems like a fucking. I mean, he's already got all the money in the world. That just seems like a thankless job. I mean, he's a fucking competitor, right? He wants to win. Like, you're not I mean, I think we talked to Susie Wolff about this once. Like, you're no longer a competitor. It's a whole different. Because she's running F1 Academy.
Yeah, it's an addiction. Winning is an addiction. Like competing and winning and losing and being in the throes of competitive battle.
Yes,
is an addiction. If he was, I think him being CEO, because this is, I think, how his mind work, how a lot of these people's minds work, is like, does he take the competitive nature to be like, and I'm going to make MotoGP bigger than Formula One and make all these fuckers eat my shit? Like, is that his mindset?
I was thinking that's the way he's gonna try. He's like, you motherfuckers threw me out of Formula One, so I'm gonna make the new Formula One, but the problem is it's bikes. I don't know. It's just not. Yeah. Everybody drives a fucking car. It's just a little bit harder.
But the racing's better.
The racing's better. I mean, it is more physically impressive looking.
The racing's sick. The guys are hot. It's more dangerous. None of the like in Formula One, all the drivers speak English. That's not the case in MotoGP. You know, there's little bits of like kind of comedic things lost in translation. You know, we are checking kind of situations. But you know, growing up in the karting world, into the junior formulas, into being in Formula One, these guys who didn't, you know, English is their second language, they all had to learn it in order to, you know, move their way through the ranks.
Because England is the sort of heart
capital.
Of it. Yeah. The capital of motorsport. I remember trying to watch this sort of DTS equivalent of MotoGP, and it was just a little bit more of a slog, just because it was a lot of subtitles. It just wasn't as easily relatable as
it's a big overtaking if he really thinks that that's like possible, which I don't really think it is. You know, Formula One just has more of the pedigree. You know, it already has a cultural stake in the world. Like it's implanted in the backs of people's mind. People like at least kind of know what it is. They're familiar with Monaco. They're familiar with like these kinds of cars, and the recent obviously catalyst from the American audience. I don't think that that's really possible, but it is an interesting situation. If Alpine does not, I think still he would want to be in Formula One, back in Formula One. Again, I still think that would be goal number one, but I would not be surprised that if that deal doesn't go through and Alpine does choose Mercedes and Toto Wolff over him, I could see him absolutely going to MotoGP and taking on that job.
But it's bigger than you think it is, though. It's not a small sport.
No, it's massive. It's just
it's just not big, and it's bigger in Spain.
Yes.
And other countries that don't speak English. It's just not as big in the sort of English-speaking world. But it is a big sport.
Which are the circles that he runs in, you know, like he's in this country estate. He's like he enjoys the status of being like a fucking English aristocrat.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Like, does he want to be big it's like, does he care about being big in a country that doesn't give him cultural clout? I don't know.
Right. He's married to fucking Ginger Spice. Like, he wants to be Mr.
Yes.
fucking England.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know if it's gonna, but I also want to just say another thing for Christian. I love it. I absolutely, what I would give to have Bernie Ecclestone as my mentor. Like, dude, you just got off, like, you just walked away from one of the bigger scandals in F1 history, which is saying something.
Yeah.
And then it's like you're telling the world that Bernie Ecclestone is the one that's kind of your confidant. The guy who said he'd take a bullet for Putin. The guy who said that, Hitler wasn't such a bad guy. Let me get, he said something crazy about Hitler. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, I'm actually going to pull it up. I don't want to get hit with a
pull it up. You know what? Because we talk about it. It's pull it up. Tell everyone where you're going to pull it up from.
Well, I don't have my book with me.
The book.
Actually,
we got the PDF.
I got the, well, yeah. Oh, fuck. I'm going to pull my PDF up. I'm just going to Control F Hitler. Okay. How many Hitlers are in here? A lot. Okay. How many times is hit on it? Okay. This is what he said about Hitler,
yes.
Okay? This is Bernie Ecclestone on Adolf Hitler, guys. In a lot of ways, terrible to say this, I suppose, but apart from the fact that Hitler got taken away and persuaded to do things that I have no idea whether he wanted to do or not, he was in the way that he could command a lot of people able to get things done. So he's basically saying, if it wasn't for all
say what you will, the guy was efficient.
The guy was efficient, he could get things done. And if it wasn't for those people that made him do the things that maybe he didn't even want to do, right?
Right. Bernie Ecclestone should start a podcast. There's a lot of people making a lot of money on the internet saying similar things to this. He'd find a huge, randomly, he'd find an absolutely massive audience and be making a ton of money and have a lot of peers in the alt-right podcasting space.
Here's the thing about Bernie, though, is he doesn't even have to pretend that he's successful. He actually literally, like, all these guys are like, yeah, like, I'm a millionaire. I grind this, I grind that. Like, this is how you reclaim your masculinity. And, women are keeping you down and this, that, and the other thing. Like, he actually is a billionaire and he actually did come from nothing. Whereas these guys just like kind of play.
Yeah. Billionaires online.
They play billionaires online. Like, this guy literally is a billionaire. And I think he recently fathered a child. He's like 90,000 years old.
He's 95.
He's 95 and he has like a newborn child.
Does he really?
Yes. You know what I would give to be able to pick his brain just to see what he'd say about stuff? It's amazing.
So he was 89 years old.
God, talk about a buzzer beater from his fucking new wife, who's like 30-something. She's about to cash the fuck in.
He has 4 children. Jenny says he has 4 children ranging from ages 5 to 70. That's fucking insane. Anyway, so this is the guy who's like advising Christian Horner on what he should do.
This is the guy who Christian Horner is like taking advice from. You should be trying to distance yourself from people like this.
Yeah,
is my point.
It's fucking crazy. This world is so fucking insane.
And it was, by the way, it was happening in the heat of the moment. It was like, it was clear that he was like, that Bernie was his man. I'm like, dude, get a new, I don't know. It's just,
yeah, that's a crazy thing. But yeah, so we'll see what comes of it. We will see what comes of it. In more news, this is a kind of big one and pretty interesting. The impact of these 2027 rule changes. We talked in the last episode about how there is that everyone on the grid has agreed in principle to change the 2027 engine split to a 60-40, ICE internal combustion engine, to the battery power, 60% going to the engine, 40% being the battery. But this causes an issue because if you plug one hole, you get a leak in another. What will be required of the engines if there's more demand of them is that they need more fuel. And currently with the chassis as they are, they can't handle more fuel. That was part of the issues with trying to change the regs, or some of the deployment for the current season, is that they say, well, yeah, we'd like to maybe have the engines do more, but we need more fuel and we can't make these chassis bigger to accommodate the more fuel. Many of the teams don't want to change their chassis in 2027. So a compromise is being suggested. The rational conclusion will be that the races will have to become shorter because they can only put so much fuel into these cars. And if the engine's going to burn through the fuel, you can't do 67 laps or whatever it is at Suzuka. You're going to have to do 50 laps. You're going to have to do a percentage less at each track to make it work. Shorter races. What are your thoughts?
My gut was telling me that who gives a shit if the races were a little bit shorter?
100%.
Who gives a shit? But then I remembered these tires are always too good. They last too long.
Yeah,
they're always even a one stop. Always sometimes it's like, do they even need a lot of these tracks? Like, do they even need to stop?
Right.
So shortening the race is going to maybe fuck us from a strategy standpoint.
Right.
Like the stops will seem more like obligatory, kind of like, stopping in a sprint race is obligatory or something.
Yeah, or like when remember when Albon did, I forget what track it was, but he did like the entire race and then pit at the penultimate
last lap.
In Australia, I think it was, in order to just because he had to, but he did the entire race on one set of tires, just stopped because he was forced to.
But I'm sure they've thought of that and they'll like maybe bring softer compounds, but
right,
because they want the tires to be safe and they don't want like anything blowing up on people. They tend to be kind of conservative. So I mean, there are certain like low degradation tracks that it's like almost impossible to fucking wear out your tires. So I'm a little conservative for that standpoint. But other than that, I don't give a shit if the races are a little bit shorter. And you know what? I think there's a lot of fans out there that wouldn't care if these races were one fucking lap, as long as their fucking orange god, Max Verstappen, said he was happy with it and it was real racing. They're gonna look over and they go like, okay, Max, is it real racing yet? No. Okay, make it shorter. 45 laps. Is this real? They're not gonna shut the fuck up until he is happy. I really, really believe that because the racing kind of I'm gonna say the racing has never been that great.
Yep. Say it.
It's never been that great.
That part.
It's never been that great. But Max hasn't been bitching about it. The only difference is it's bad in a new way. It's bad in a way that we've never seen before.
Right.
That's what's different. And they're not going flat in 130R or whatever. And I will say I'm very disappointed that I learned that a lot of the battery deployment that we thought would be like strategic is actually automated and the drivers have no. So like, I'm not trying to like downplay that there are things wrong with the regulation set, but I think this idea, I've said this before, but I think this idea that we've lost some golden age is sort of silly.
Right.
We weren't around for the earlier times in the other hybrid eras, but I don't really care that the races are shorter though.
Yeah, no, it's going to be, as with all of these things, it's already happened with we're changing to 60-40, but then, we get a leak elsewhere with the fuel. You make the races shorter, then there's a leak with the tires. You're going to be everyone's going to have to be talking to each other about what you're doing affects me. It's like a butterfly effect.
I think Pirelli might be gone too.
You flap your wings in Maranello, and all of a sudden in Woking you're having issues. So.
Oh, okay, because they're still going to have the Pirelli tires. I know that they're going to
still have the Pirelli tires, but it's going to be one more year, and who knows? Maybe Pirelli looks at like all this kind of chaos that's happening and says we want out, and maybe there's a new tire provider in 2028. This whole thing, though, it's like it is. They're just backtrack. You're just watching someone like backtrack. You're watching someone like try to plug all the leaks in the shitty house that they built, and before the season started, and it's ironic because as the season's gone, we haven't hated the regs as much as other people have, but we were, some of the only people really yelling about that this new reg set might fuck everything up. Like at the end of last year, we were talking about that. I think it was we went on a couple podcasts. I think they cut it out of the said podcast. We were ranting and raving about like this new reg set might be a fucking clusterfuck, and that is what it has turned into. And even though we like that there are more aspects of these regs that other people hate, like you just can't ignore the fact this year has been watching an organization like desperately attempt to insist that everything's fine as the house is like burning around them. And that's what this whole situation is.
It's Sydney Sweeney Euphoria meme. I've never been happier with the mascara running down her face. And nothing's wrong. Stefano Domenicali is like, everything's fine. Nothing's bad. Oh yeah, we're making massive changes the following year to the thing that I said was perfect and there was no problems. Yeah, it's dumb. I want to talk about this Alpine Gucci thing for a second, Brian.
Okay, yeah. Then we'll get to fan questions. We'll do Canada predictions. Let's talk about Alpine and Gucci. Gucci flip-flops.
Jenny, I want you to put a ranking. Like, I want you to give me the ranking in the chat. Where's Gucci landing these days? With the Prada and the Chanel and the other things.
I think Gucci's still up there. Not
Jenny
S tier.
Says not S tier,
but definitely A.
What's interesting is because I was I was reading about Gucci, and it was used to when wealth was more flamboyant. Now we've gone back into, not gone back, but like it's more about like
quiet
luxury, stealth wealth sort of thing. Yeah. I've learned that the row, which is I didn't know. Did you know that Mary-Kate and Ashley are like the new Coco Chanels of they have the fucking, that's fucking crazy. I had and I was like, I have no idea. I was like, what is the row? Everyone's talking about the row. That they're the hot bitch in town. And it's like, Mary-Kate and Ashley? You mean the fucking the sisters that put out like straight to DVD movies are now like, what an amazing second. I mean, you look at how most child stars turn out. Holy fuck.
Yeah, you could have had the row.
That's crazy. But yeah, so Gucci is A tier, not S tier.
Gucci's still up there. Gucci's still up there.
But okay, so I know I went on a tangent, but my point is, if you're Gucci, you have way more legacy than the row. Like, who knows if the row has staying power?
Yeah, sure.
Jenny says Totem or Low. By the way, I've never heard of these. I didn't hear about the row until recently. And I think I've heard that's kind of the point. They don't want you. Like, only the real bitches know. But only the people like the Loro Piano, the Bottega Veneta or whatever, like, you got to know about it to know. And Gucci's just sort of named, like, everybody knows about Gucci. Everybody knows about Prada. It's a little bit.
Yeah.
It's a little bit. What's the word? The spot's been ruined. Overexposed.
Yeah, sure.
The spot's been ruined. Now everybody comes.
As they'd say in what's the movie? The Jon Favreau. Movie.
Oh yeah, I know what you. Oh yeah, this party's dead. This party's
fucking dead anyway.
Yeah, but it's just like too many people know about it, so it's like it's not a cool spot anymore. Swingers. But I guess my question is, Brian, if you're Gucci, And what's interesting is the guy I think who worked for Renault, who
Yeah.
was like in charge of Renault, is now running Gucci. So it's so corrupt, right? It's so just like,
Right.
I'm going to help my boy Flavio out here.
Yeah.
But if I'm Gucci, do I want to be associated with Alpine? I think Alpine kind of is not a great brand.
Right.
I would want to
rather be at
Ferrari, Mercedes,
or McLaren.
I'd rather get. I mean, I cannot wait to see what they put Pierre Gasly in. Don't get me wrong. I cannot wait to see that. But Gucci is still an A-tier brand. Right. I want to see them with
they're going to a this year B tier. I mean, they're the best. This year, it looks like they're going to be best of the rest.
Yeah, but Alpine. They're called Alpine.
Of course. Like, in terms of a brand.
Yeah.
In terms of just brand, Williams has more clout. In terms of just a brand, Audi even has more clout.
Right.
Cadillac has more clout. V-Carb, in a certain way, has maybe a little bit more clout. The Alpine brand, not so good. But, I mean, I think if you're going to choose, if one of the top 4 teams this year, just in terms of pure results, right? If you're thinking just in terms of results, if you want to make sure that your car, when it has the Gucci shit on it, and who knows what the car is going to look like, there's been a bunch of, people have been speculating on how they're going to, design the car.
It's going to look like, because the pink is going to be gone because the BWT is gone. So what are the Gucci colors? Is it green and what is the what are the Gucci
it's like that
colors?
Green and tan, it's the green and red with the tan bags, green, red, and tan is kind of like the color
I think
scheme.
The green and red could really work with the blue.
Right.
The tan, not so much.
But if they did do a full tan car that looked like a fucking bag, it would be sick.
With the green and red stripes, that would
be fucking
so
sick.
fucking hard. Because who cares about? Like, it's not like Alpine has this legendary livery that anyone cares about. Like,
no one cares.
Just fucking make it. Oh, dude, but you know what'd be more iconic? I mean, the green, the G's, the interlocking G's with the green, red, and green. That is racy. That's cool. I would love to see that. Look, I'm already talking myself into it.
Yeah.
One day, LV has got to come in. Louis Vuitton has got to come in.
They sponsor the whole. They're like the title sponsor of the entire of all of F1.
Right. Yeah. Okay. I didn't know. I knew that in the back of my head, but what they actually
dude,
need
we're
to do
with
is
Fox now. We got to know these things, bro.
Yeah. You know what they need to do though? They need to put LV. I want a car that just looks like the LV bag.
Right. Yeah.
That would be so sick. Like, just sponsoring the F1, just who cares? I need to see an LV fucking car. Right?
Yeah. Maybe that was part of the calculation from Gucci, is that like Alpine has no identity. They're just like this fucking like bullshit thing. And it can just be our car. You know what I mean? Like, this is our house now. You know what I mean?
It's a blank canvas.
Yes.
It's a blank canvas.
So that's giving the benefit of the doubt. And then honestly, because you go to a place like Ferrari, you go to a place like, Mercedes, they have too much of like their own, this is how we do it. And they're like, well, fuck you. I want the car to look like my handbag. And if you're not ready to do that for me, then you can go fuck yourself. It would be a moment. It would break the internet. It would certainly be, it's like right now the only people on the grid who are doing like fun liveries that anyone is talking about is V-Carb. So if Alpine and Gucci can kind of like make waves in terms of press, and with Alpine performing as well as they have been this year, there is a chance for that to be a successful partnership there. Okay, episode's going long, baby. Let's discuss. We have a couple fan questions. Let's go through them quickly. This is from Brennan. What's more likely over the next 2 years, a Lawson win or an Alonso win?
Oh my God. It has to be Lawson, because less cars in front of him have to crash.
Yeah.
It just, because literally everybody would have to be on the side of the road in a crumpled heap for Alonso. Like so many cars. Yeah.
Yeah. I do agree in theory, but I'm also like, I'm envisioning a world where this bailout that Honda has is like successful, and then the Adrian Newey design philosophy is finally like given a chance to breathe, and then all of a sudden in 2 years, Aston Martin is like back up at the top. There is a report, we didn't really get, this is, a little bit, wasn't enough for a full, section of the pod this week, but Fernando Alonso has said that he wants to race long enough for his new child to see him race. So we have a few more years of Alonso, if that is to be believed. This is from Annabella Alvarez. Who would you bring back from the past, dead or alive, to beat Max in a race?
Probably Yas. Put Prime Yas in there. That would be really fun to watch. Get to see that he got
dude,
game.
Max would beat the fucking brakes off him, dude.
No, but that would be cathartic, I think.
100%.
It would be cathartic. Remember, he got game.
He got game.
He got game.
Yeah.
It's just that would be box office.
Fully.
Who would you pick?
I mean, the obvious answers are Senna and Schumacher, right? It's like that's who you would.
Whose cars are we racing in? Because I would love to see Max get into like one of these old.
Max hates these cars. He'd have to go in the old school cars.
Yeah,
this whole thing is how much he fucking hates these cars. He's gonna have to race in the old school shit.
Yeah, racing the old school shit, that are really dangerous. And then also, I'd love to see him in a 1950s car versus Fangio. I'd like to see him try to beat that fat fuck with all his with no power steering.
Yeah.
I think he might have a little bit of trouble. Yeah, just because he did that, because like you needed physical strength, and it was like a totally different skill set. And you need to be kind to the car. But then again, you see him. There was the GT 3000 or whatever it was in Japan.
Yeah.
He's just like the professional guy who's like a really good GT 3000 driver, or whatever it's called. Like set a benchmark, and then Max in the wet just went in and just beat it.
Yeah.
And the Japanese guy was like, okay, wow. That's incredible.
Yeah.
I'm speechless.
Yeah, we don't know what happened at the 24 hours of Nurburgring, because we recorded this a few days before. The beginning of this episode was recorded after this whole, chunk of the pod. But yeah, I mean, I'm hard pressed to think that many people could beat Max, but I do think that maybe, Senna, Schumi, Lewis in the prime. Yeah, I mean, we watched Lewis, but like,
like 2000,
Max now
2008
versus Max now versus Prime Lewis. I also want to see that. We got a taste of that in 2021, but even still. Canada is this weekend. What are your predictions? What do you think is going to happen?
Fuck it. Kimi, George, Oscar.
Mercedes is bringing more upgrades. Okay, Kimi, George, Oscar. I think George Russell comes back. I think that he wins in Canada. I think it's going to go George, and then I think it's going to go George, Lando, Oscar.
Kimi just flames out.
I think something happens to Kimi. I think he's been flying high. I think that these McLarens have figured some shit out. And right now, everyone is on it's Kimi's championship, and George is fucked. And I think that this is still George's championship to lose. I think that everyone's so eager to write him off. Everyone's dying for him to not win this championship. It reminds me of last year with Lando and Oscar. And everyone was so thrilled to not have Lando Norris winning this championship. But I think that George Russell, it's still his to lose. That does it for us. But you know that this pod would not be possible if it wasn't for you all listening, but it would also not be possible if it wasn't for our Patreon members, and more specifically, our daddies, who we got to thank. We got to thank Kayla, Robin, Jordan, Texera, Jay Lingle, Spencer Grieve, Javier, Sheila Valeri, Chandler, Ali Santana, Carla Huarlo, Kimberly Quaden, Alonso My Face 69, Donya Dana, Deadbeat Daddy Muhammad, Jimmy, Kimmy, sponsored by Mommy of the Pod, Hollister 584, Delusional Science Fan, Cat, Future Dog Door Dion, Steph Grossi, Laura, Emily Gillenwater, Cody Ellis, My F1 Daddy, Branch W, Keep Up the Science Hate, Hunter Scruggs, Salmonella Mozzarella, I'm a Leclerc fan, and yes it hurts, Jay Kess, George Russell's Evil Peter Parker from Spider-Man 3, Matt Edwards is always right, I wish I was Max and Danny's love child, Delaney Andrews, Henry Caskey, Miles Lewis Alexander, Maggie B, Kaylee Breyer, Eva the Y, Devin, a.k.a. the future Dr. Sullivan's PA, Courtney Fraser, Yuki Sonoda's other mother, Jenny is the reason I am a daddy, Megan, Aaron, Pineapple with a Y, Matt has a secret one for Carlos Sainz, unfortunately it's Gary, Carolina, my name is AJ, and fuck the HOA, K-Mac, and fuck Smash My Door any day, the official F1 race program, and its executive editor, Sarah. I got tickled by the Tifosi, hey Jet, good luck out there, Alice Insane, Zhuge, F1 Dude Company, Trent Slickman, Code Brown, Sonoda, Jerome Ferreira, Colapinto is a fraud, Aaron, Shahid, Jeans Rockster, Chohan, Gotta lick my balls. Stay fierce, Leclerc. Truth bringer, Mama Burns. Arthur Leclerc is hotter. Carlos Sainz. OP Goblin, right? Meow. James, DNCTT. Finney, Daddy, Kev, not Magnuson. Mr. Ed, Bobby, Lana Norris's unofficial girlfriend. Why do I always hawk 2 on this name? Winkin. Lizzie Y, Jafar from afar. Stroll, pay the troll toe to get in the boys' hole. Andrew Prisco, Rohi the Bambino, the great Paul Bino, Sausage Boy, Atticus, and our newest daddy, Uno Cinco. Honorary Daddy Pod this week, every week, when Nicole Piastri. If you want to become a Daddy of the Pod, go to patreon.com/TRFpod and join the resistance today. We will see you after Canada, Vankas.
Goodbye, Vankas.